Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. Yesterday there was it yesterday or the day before? I'd have to look at the exact date. But anyways, in the last couple of days, along with IAE, there was uh, excuse me, sorry, a Star Citizen Live that went up. That as I'm looking at it now, I see it's about 2 hours, and I know a lot of people have made videos referencing it and whatever, which I haven't really looked at any. Um, but I guess they're going to talk about ships they've released, ships that are coming out next year, and whatnot. It's about 2 hours, so I'm thinking I'm going to do these in little chunks. But anyways, let's go ahead and what? Okay. I'm sorry. The joys of getting older and tired. I need to make myself get more sleep in general. But all right, here we go.
We haven't done this in a while. Hi, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Models he has in the background.
They couldn't get me the
Where'd they get
pumpkin
those
pie in
from?
time. So, and I mean, I love you guys, but you're pumpkin pie. You guys don't have any pie?
I've had mine. No pie.
No pie.
Just me.
You guys don't really do pumpkin pie here, do you?
No, we carve pumpkins and
Pumpkins go out once a year.
I had a fascinating conversation with the rest of my team about that actually, because back home we used to carve turnips instead,
Oh,
because you couldn't get pumpkins in the supermarket, like big pumpkins.
Oh,
You just
okay.
couldn't get them, so you used to get the biggest Swede that you could, carve that out. And that's what you'd use.
They just charge twice as much for those nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah, there used to be a dime a dozen.
No. The Studio Experience team, delightful that they are, went to Costco, because we still have Costco here, and they came back with what they approximated was an American Thanksgiving meal, which was pumpkin pie, red vines, crazy delicious.
Not Twizzlers. Twizzlers.
Not Twizzlers.
Are they not?
Get the F out of here with
Oh.
Twizzlers.
Oh wow! The eternal
No, red
argument.
vines and Twizzlers are not the same thing.
Twizzlers are solid.
Not even close.
oh, are they?
Yeah.
Twizzlers are outright plastic.
Okay.
Pancakes Hobo says Twizzlers are greater than red vines. Can we ban him from Twitch chat, please?
Wow.
Reese's peanut butter cups and Welch's fruit snacks. A proper Thanksgiving meal.
Oh Jesus!
Hi, everybody. I realized I took a bite before I was.
So you're really brave eating in the opening.
Welcome to Star Citizen Live. A lot of ship talk, eventually. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, well, it's usually where we take about an hour out of our week and talk about all manner of things related to the ongoing and continuing development of Star Citizen. Today, we're going to go a little bit extra because we haven't done a show in a while. We're going to see if we can't make up for it and answer as many questions from the community, as many questions from my own curiosity as we can. Joining us on the show this week are three members of our esteemed vehicle content team. We'll go ahead and start here immediately to my right. Tell everybody who you are and what you do, John Crew.
I'm John Crew. I'm the vehicle director. So I look after the whole pipeline of all the content, all
So-
the teams, all the studios.
So everything related to a vehicle is your fault.
Correct.
That's not remotely true. Most things, though.
Yeah.
Ben, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Ben Curtis. I am the vehicle art director. So I look after the visual side of the vehicles, I guess. Make sure they look as good as they fly.
So if you don't like how they look,
Yeah, that's my fault.
it's all his fault.
Everything else, though, is
Yeah. If you didn't care for the fin on the L21,
yeah, that's my fault.
Hey, I know a lot of people
Bob.
don't like that
it's
thing.
fine.
Fine, we'll get it out right at the beginning.
And Mark, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Mark Gibson. I'm the lead vehicle content designer, and I make sure what John wants to happen actually happens.
And when do you start doing that job?
Probably in the new year.
Okay. Tazda in chat says, question, should I have bacon and eggs for breakfast or beans and toast? Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs. Beans and toast.
Or
I
both.
mean, I know that's a
Yeah,
British thing, but
The better question is, how do you do the eggs?
I'm a simple man. I like scrambled.
See, I always want to do them fried, and then when they go wrong, they turn into scrambled.
That's fair.
That's a bad
That's
fried egg.
catastrophically.
Yeah, that is a bad
For
fried egg.
some reason, it's the one thing I can't cook. Eggs always go wrong for me.
So one thing I like about this beginning of this show is that there's a whole bunch of content creators who are like, bring back the shows and whatnot because we need your content to make our content and whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why we do it. I'm just wasting your time. I'm just thinking about how many restreamers and they're like, we're waiting to watch and to have comments on things, and we're just wasting time talking about
Eggs.
It's
Eggs.
important topic.
In all fairness, we did say we were going to ask community questions, and that was a community question.
that was a community. That was a community question.
That's the one.
So, all right. So this show's going to be a little different. We're gonna do some general chat. We're gonna talk about some high level things that I think are important first, and then we are going to get to the community questions. Like I said, it's going to be a longer show than normal. I can't tell you precisely how long, but there's a lot I want to talk about. We haven't been on the air for a while, CitizenCon notwithstanding. So I got you guys here. I came in on Thanksgiving. We want to make sure that we get the most out of this time. So let's start with some general conversation, some general stuff about ships in general, the project and whatnot. I want to start off with this year. This year, if my math is correct, and please, you guys correct me if it's not, you have now delivered 27 vehicles this year. So my question is, WTF? Like, how did this happen? And what's this change been like?
It's been pretty full on. So at the start of the year, we talked about doing this year of quality of life and content. So we sort of knew we were going to be working at this pace ahead of time. We knew that there was a lot of content to fill, a lot of ships to fill. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Big thanks to not just the team that works on the ships, but all the supporting teams, like all the people who do the web pages and the marketing art and the trailers and economy side, QA, everybody, because it's all just a big group effort, especially to do it at that scale. Like, it's the most we've ever done in any year.
Yeah.
Last year was 23 or so. So even more this year is a big improvement. But yeah, it's not gone without its challenges, but I think we've done pretty well on there.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I've lost count of how many we've done this year. It's been a lot. I think the kind of like the transition to the like the monthly releases and everything. It's it's been full on, but I think we've kind of weathered it pretty well. I think there's been no secret that we've been kind of expanding the vehicle team a little bit over the last couple of years, and we're kind of starting to, I guess, see some of the benefits of that. I think we've also I guess we're still in progress of kind of like changing some of our processes and how we kind of tackle ships. That has kind of allowed us to speed up. Our concept team's grown. Like, everything has kind of grown a bit to allow us to kind of get a little bit more kind of throughput. I think it has been a challenge, but I think I think the team are in a pretty good place with what they're able to deliver and the speed and what we can deliver. We've ticked off a few big ones, ticked off a load of small ones, and it's kind of finding that balance of getting through some of the big ships, but also still being able to deliver a whole bunch of kind of new and exciting ones as well.
Finally getting the Idris out the door.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, and I mean, some of that stuff. We kind of got to thank some of the other teams on the other project that have helped us with that kind of side of things. But I think it's been a busy year, but it's been a good year. Like, everyone's come to the end of it. And it's like, do you know what? I'm very proud of what the team's delivered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's been reflected in every metric. Our daily average users are way up. Our concurrency is way up. So.
And I think some of that stuff as well, to be fair, is we can't lay claim for that. Like, some of that side of things, if the plan at the beginning of the year for the year of kind of stability and improvements, I think, has meant that there's more people want to play and they want more ships to play with. And so, the kind of work of some of the other teams outside of the ships that have kind of helped with that side of things.
So I want to follow up with another question. So 27 ships. About how many were from the backlog? My next question is, there's this question that always happens. We're just going to jump right into it, guys. Here, the decision between making a brand new ship that nobody's ever heard of, straight to flyable, and by the way, you missed the fact that not a single concept ship this year.
Yep.
This is our first year we've done entirely straight to flyable or backlog ships. No more. The era of selling JPEGs or whatnot, as the folks on the internet like to say, done. But where was I going with this? But the choice between the backlog ships, like how does that work? There's folks out there who are obviously waiting on their Banu Merchantman for however many years.
This is a question I'm actually really interested in hearing the answer.
Versus getting a brand new ship like the L-22 or whatnot. How do you make these decisions?
As we've said this a few times, but as you say, always someone's first show. When it comes to the backlog ships, quite a few years ago, we decided that we're not just going to release ships that just don't have their gameplay loop, or like their main gameplay loop. And for a lot of those older backlog ships, they rely on features or gameplay loops that just simply aren't in the game or won't be in the game within the period of time it's going to take to make that vehicle. And I can't remember how many backlog ships we did this year, but I know the backlog has gone down because of it. Like, we've not added to it. It's net decreased. So when you look at the ones that are left, there is a sizable proportion of those that fall into that camp of they require feature gameplay loop. And we don't want to start and go through a whole vehicle to get to the end and not be able to release it. We'd rather use that time and resources to do other things. So the backlog pool of ships to pull from is relatively slim. So that has to be balanced against, we've got 11 patches this year. We want to have a ship in every patch. We've got Fleet Week and IE, which we need to have a lot of ships in. So it's always a back and forth of shiny new content, upgrading older content with gold standards, and then delivering backlog ships.
So
Okay, I'm gonna pause here for just a second. So, the thing I'm gonna say about that, and I mean, obviously, I agree with that in the sense of you don't want a ship that doesn't work like it's supposed to. So I do get that, and I mean, again, I'm not even sure. I can't say all the backlog ships. I mean, I've looked through the inventory of what's, of course, available, non-available a number of times, and most of the like big backlog ships are obviously your like capital class or medium class things, like they mentioned the Merchantman, now the Javelin, the Odyssey, the Liberator, the Crucible, things like that. But I mean, and I guess since it's such a small part of it, maybe this is why. But again, for instance, they just, released the Clipper, which has a manufacturing table, crafting table. So, I mean, I guess if they're holding within their logic of it, then I guess we should be seeing that, like, extremely soon, like by the end of this year. Because otherwise, I mean, you're kind of releasing a ship that's, I mean, that is an example of you're releasing a ship that's not. And then, it made me wonder certain things. Like, I know, again, I thought it was one of the newer backlog things, but apparently it's one of the first older ones, the Rangers, the motorcycles, which from what I can see in the descriptions, have, as Jared so playfully said, JPEG sales for pledge things. I mean, they're motorcycles, but they don't have any extra functionality I can see. I mean, one, you can put the little 1/8 SCU boxes on. One's a racing variant, and one has guns on it. Why are those not out? I don't understand that. I mean, and then they're smaller vehicles. I mean, unless I guess they're just so technically intricate, the little parts, if you will. I don't understand that. Why something like that is not out? And actually, yeah, now I'm gonna quickly look at my see, look at the pledge store. Because I am curious, see what all ships are still in concept, unavailable ships. Okay, in game status, in concept. All right, so these are actually. I don't know if this will work. Hold on. I'm gonna shift this for 1 second. Actually, I'm gonna close that for 1 second. Sorry. All right. Okay. So these are all. They should be all our in concept things only. Okay. So you have the Arasta, which Arastra mining refining. To my knowledge, there's not an additional gameplay thing. Okay, the Crucible heavy repair. I get that. That's not into us having the ability in ships to have repair yet. I get that. The Spirit, the E1 Spirit. Again, I mean the whole passenger thing. I still have yet to understand. I mean, how that's gonna go. I mean, how many people do they expect to actually do that? But you never know. Maybe there's some people who can make a career and have fun out of that. I don't know. I mean, Endeavor's got multiple parts to it, so multiple modules. So I can kind of get that. Okay, the Expanse refinery. I mean, I guess again, being a refinery in a ship, that's I guess maybe that's the thing. I mean, I logically, I'm just like, okay, we have the refining in the game. Can't you put that within a ship's function? But I'm guessing all the things that go into it as far as the space and everything. Okay, I understand that. The G12s, kind of like as I was saying for the Rangers, why? None of them, from my understanding, I mean, from looking at the pictures and descriptions, none of them have anything that's like excessive. So I'm hoping those are, planned out, I guess, already for just releases. The, straight to flyable things. Again, even though they've been, announced, not be new, straight to flyable. The Galaxy modular things, which again, see, I believe there's, I think, a weapons, a med bay, refining. So again, it's like with the Expanse, a refining thing. So I get that. Genesis, like for the E1, it's the whole passenger transport thing. So that's obviously not something like in the spaceports in games we have, and then there's section off. So I guess that's where all that's gonna go. The whole D and whole E. Again, my thing, I'm not understanding other than the mere size of these things, which I've seen some notes, and I guess maybe they'll be addressed in this Talking ships, I don't know, but what I've heard, their capacity is far decreased. But other than being oversized versions and maybe slightly more detailed versions of the, hulls, A hull A and C. I mean, not even the B in the middle is out yet. What I mean, I don't get that. Yeah, hull B, hull D, E. Okay, the ironclad. Um, Again, I know there's the whole um, crap flight command module or whatever it's called. So there's that. The javelin is again mega capital destroyer along with the Kraken. So I get that and itself. The Legionnaire, the boarding thing, I guess that's some kind of mechanic. Liberator, again, a light carrier. So again, there's the whole being able to fix things, I suppose. The Merchantman, heavy freight. I guess that's more of a inventory thing. The Nautilus, mine layer. That's something completely introducing into the game. I mean, so that's a whole other thing. Again, the Odyssey Exploration Expedition, which again I'm really thinking about looking into maybe upgrading / buying this. But anyways, from what I read the description and everything, I think. Is there anything different? Wait, does it have a refinery in it too? Survey the log hangar that accommodates small ships. I'm going to give it a integrated mining rig. Okay, and fuel refinery to ensure. Okay, so again, it's got a refinery in it, so I get it why that's taking a bit of time. The Raylan, which they have the hologram of it in IAE cargo, so I think it's just they got to work out the kinks and everything. And as I said, the Rangers. Why are these three? They're motorcycles. That's it. Why are these still in development? I don't understand this. Vulcan, medium repair. Okay, so you're talking about repair again. And then the Zeus Mark II MR. It's interdiction, which I know my brother. Raptor Spiritus, for us, as some of y'all may know, as he's building his following. And if not, check out some of his videos. I may put a link in it. EMP and QED. I mean, those are things already in the game. Detainees safely via cryopods. So maybe that's the thing that's keeping it. But I thought that doesn't the hold on. Let me go back. The Titan. Doesn't the Renegade have cryopods too? I mean, I guess maybe they do that. They don't work, like our, suit lockers don't work and all that. So let's just do Avenger. Okay, like I said, I think, is it the Renegade or is it the Stalker? Interdiction, light freight transport. Design, okay, having a long stored career, patrol craft. Okay, cargo hold for prisoner transport. Bounty hunting value with that securely 6 comments. So, okay, so maybe it's that there because they're still working on that aspect. I assume possibly. So yeah, I mean, I totally get that. You have certain things that, as I said, the functions don't work. So you don't want to put a ship out, especially a very expensive ship out, that people will have many issues with if it doesn't work. But you have other stuff that it looks like that's not the case. Why haven't those been released? And similarly, like I said, you have the Clipper that was just released, and one of its functions doesn't work. The crafting table doesn't work. So, anyways, sorry, I'm rambling on. Let me get back to talking ships.
That's a good answer, and like I said, I should say we have answered it before, but it's important to continuously reiterate this again. It's the first show, and sometimes people just don't pick it up from the first time. It's while we don't always succeed. Obviously, the Clipper just went out. It's got a fabrication station in there. Crafting is not in just yet. Whatnot. There is a certified and deliberate effort to only make ships that come with their gameplay whenever possible. So and that's a major factor in why we make certain ships versus some other ships. While making 27 ships this year, and while working down the not adding to the backlog with no new concept ships, while cutting down the backlog with delivery of those ships, you also, I think everybody's aware at this point that we're on the cusp of releasing finally our first version of engineering. Like, we have been talking about engineering so long. The first time we mentioned it, I was dressed as a vampire. like that's how long it was pre-pandemic, and we are on the verge of finally delivering this first version of engineering. We're currently shooting for December, before the end of the year. But obviously, this has been a massive undertaking for your teams, because you have to go back, and as we're approaching nearly 200 ships now, not just convert the old ships to work with the new system, adding components and stuff like this, but making sure you build the new ones with this in mind. How's that been?
That's been crazy.
I mean, I can understand that.
It's a huge amount of work, and it isn't just they finish the feature, here's how you do it, off you go. We work with them to do the prototypes for it as well, so we actually test out and implement it on normally a test vehicle that gets chosen. But then to go back, because we've been developing ships for 8, 9, 10 years at this point, it means that how we've set stuff up over the years has changed as well. So how we have to deconstruct and then reconstruct it to work is different depending on when the ship was released. So on top of having to actually get the ships out and release all the new content, any downtime is spent a combination of either bug fixing, quality of life for existing ships, or doing all of this feature support. Right now, the entirety of the vehicle design team is off doing tweaks and changes to improve how features coming out in December feel and experience, and we're actively making changes from what we thought it was going to be to what feels better and is a better experience. Literally right now, the team is sat doing it, probably listening to me talk about them as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge is even like simple things like making sure the ships have got fire extinguishers. Like, we've known that's been coming for a while, and we've been adding them to a lot of our ships. As soon as we kind of knew that was coming on, but we didn't necessarily know exactly how that system was going to work, and we had no real way of kind of like testing it. So really now, a lot of the time is you think, oh yeah, well most ships got fire extinguishers, it's fine, but we still need to go through, test them all, make sure they all work, realise that, oh, actually, there's a bit of collision that is a tiny bit too big, that looks fine, but we had no way of testing it. And it's those sort of little things that kind of catch you out. On the art side, we're probably in a better place because, our side is less impacted by it. I think it's really kind of the design and the setup side that's kind of weathering the...
For engineering, there's a lot goes into it that players just don't see. So... we could spend 2 hours talking about how we do it, but essentially and we've been doing this process under the hood over the last 18 months, 2 years?
Yeah, near enough.
Basically stripping out the old item pipe system, replacing it with the resource network. That was a lot of manual labor to do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the way that's been in the game since before 4.0,
and I give them
it's just basically been all the items just automatically
connecting
connecting themselves. That was just to get the system in functional. And now we've been doing the passes of actually physically linking all the items correctly to the relays. So people will have seen in larger multi-crew ships that have released the last 2 years, physical relays, physical items, and it's literally connecting up the resource network for those. So when you have a ship that has an engineering screen, you can see all these connections, you can manage it. And for the initial release, everything will support engineering. It just comes in different sort of stages. It's obviously, everything has to work, step one.
Ideally.
Ideally.
Was that the requirement?
Yes. It's not always a guarantee.
Not always a guarantee.
Let's just be real. It's not always a guarantee.
But obviously, a single-seater is less work and less requirements than, say, the Polaris, where a single seater, you have the ability to repair your items through the MFD, and that's our sort of fallback case for a ship that doesn't have physical components. You could be able to do that gameplay from the cockpit from an MFD, and then as we go through the ships, physicalizing all the items, adding engineering screens. Again, not every ship will have an engineering screen because it just doesn't make sense to do that.
No.
You get more and more of that gameplay unlocked, but it's not like if a ship doesn't have physical components, it's way better than one that does for the gameplay. They both get impacted the same.
Mr. Malzero in the chat says, what about armor? Well, yeah, it's coming too. So engineering's been on Tech Preview for a little while. It was on Tech Preview without armor. When they just finished the code check-in, I was talking to Torsten earlier today. When it returns to PTU, I think tomorrow, the day after, as soon as the build is where it needs to be, armor. The first version of armor will be in as part of engineering, and it's going to dramatically change the balance between ballistics and lasers and all that stuff.
Different tiers of ships and everything.
Oh.
It's just fundamentally different
Yeah.
for how combat's going to play out.
Yeah, it's now you're now going to have this choice. Sure, I can use lasers if I want to peel down the shields and then melt the armor stuff, or if I know where the shield generator is and I've got ballistics, I can punch right through that and take those out faster. It's like it's going to be a real interesting challenge and change to combat. The more you know these ships, the more effective you're going to be and stuff. And then of course, continuing changes to flight model. The flight model will make that better and stuff as time goes on.
Yeah, well, it also massively benefits people actually taking larger crews, because if you're trying to fight on your own, you can't go around repairing all the components in the bigger ship. So it encourages you to actually go out with your friends because they stay in the fight a bit longer. It's going to be a huge shift in the dynamic of the multi-crew ships.
Yep. So we've got an ISC that'll air next week that we shot with Torsten. It'll go over a bit. When the PTU goes, you'll learn more about engineering from PTU than you will from the ISC, as always. And then we're working on a big engineering doc to release alongside 4 or 5 that'll help explain a bunch of the fundamentals and stuff. So we're all shooting to get this out before the end of the year. So we're going to do our best. We've talked about making all the new ships. Talked about the choice between backlog stuff and whatever. There are still there's this other class of stuff. There are still flight-ready ships who are still needing their gold standard, their gold standard. So let's explain what the gold standard is real quick. And if you're so inclined, give me a list of what ships are getting their gold standard in 2026. I know it's a one question, but
and then I can't get in trouble.
I'm gonna push for it. I want to know what ships get their gold standard next year.
So gold standard, I mean, it's a term that kind of gets thrown around a lot, but for me it's about if we were releasing that ship today, making sure it has all the features, all the functionality of a ship that we are releasing that's brand new. So really it's going through and just kind of like, ticking off all of its components, its physical items,
retrofitting
the different interactions, making sure the metrics are correct, and it's really just kind of bringing it up to the gameplay experience that a more modern ship would have. It's less about kind of making like stylistic changes for the just because you can. I think there's something to be said for kind of keeping a ship's history. Now we have, obviously, over the last 10 years or so, things have improved in how we kind of create the ships. So we do tend to go in and make some material changes. We might relight it and do those sort of things. But I don't really want to go in and take away like the kind of core DNA of a ship. If we're going that far, then I think we may as well do a Mark II or a Mark III or whatever it might be. But for me, gold standard is just bringing it up to the kind of the functionality that we would if we were kind of releasing it today.
Okay, so that's gold standards. There's a lot of questions from the community thread, and we're going to get to that in a few minutes here, about the other ways we update
Yeah.
the ships. So there's the gold standard, which you just explained.
Yep.
And then there's an outright rework.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've got. I think it's Polaris owners are now somewhat envious of the Perseus
okay,
interior.
Yeah.
Star Runner owners are looking at the Clipper's second entrance
Yep.
and being like, "Where's my second entrance?"
Yeah.
The 600i.
Yeah.
Just do that there. Sometimes we do a gold standard. Sometimes we shoot for a rework, and sometimes we do a Mark II, as we did with the Hornet. So talk to me about how the choice between a rework and a Mark II comes about.
So with the reworks versus Mark II, it depends on what we're trying to achieve and whether what already exists actually achieves that. So using the 600i as a prime example, just as a talking point for one, when we made the original 600i, we had a particular vision for how we wanted the interior to be used and laid out, and then as the game evolved, we realized that the interior just doesn't work for what we actually want the ship to be able to do, what we want to achieve, what we want the experience to be while using it. And realistically, if that ship was left in the state that it was, it wouldn't actually fit its role or purpose within the game. So what we want to do is rework something like that. It needs to be taken back and then re-reviewed, and obviously everyone's seen the rework images, the concept board. There's an entire thread on Spectrum where people are keeping track of everything for it that we've ever said and covered. That's the rework. That's when what's there doesn't work. It doesn't need tweaked. It doesn't need things added. It doesn't need minor changes. It's straight up. It just needs removing and putting back in. The gold standard can sometimes be just bringing something up to scratch. So that's adding, say, the suit locker's missing, or the weapon rack doesn't work, or other features that help the gameplay experience but don't require us to fundamentally change something about the ship. And then the Mark IIs exist where the Mark I, the original, still works for the role, but we want to make it bigger and better, but we don't want to get rid of what the original role was being fulfilled. So if we talk about the Aurora?
Too late now.
If we talk about the Aurora, so the Aurora interior, oh man, I'm getting in trouble after this.
Go ahead, Mark. Let's do it.
Okay, so the Aurora is obviously getting the gold, it's not obviously, but people are now hearing the Aurora is getting the gold standard.
If you've been reading the monthly reports.
Is it in the monthly?
Yep.
Thank God I missed that. Okay, so the Aurora is getting the gold standard. So what that is, the interior still mostly works, but there's some tweaks needed to make it work with our gameplay loops. But we don't need to strip the entire interior back. It needs a place to put weapons. It needs a place so you can actually walk inside with storage boxes. It needs a fire extinguisher. We don't need to gut the entire ship. So that's why the Aurora is getting its gold standard. It doesn't need a full rework. And we don't want to change what the Aurora is, because the Aurora's, it's the Aurora. So that's when a Mark II might come along, because we could do something bigger, better, different, something we're more interested and engaged in, something that allows it to be more than what it was, but is something new.
Don't give me this might stuff. You already said it, and they already saw my reaction. An Aurora Mark II is coming.
Yeah, the Aurora Mark II is a thing. I'm not going to go into details about it, but it allows us to take the DNA of what a Mark I is and then expand upon it, make it something different, make it its next generation of itself.
Yeah. If you look at it compared to the Hornets,
Just looked at the chat.
the Hornet Mark II and the Mark I side by side, you can tell they are both Anvil Hornets, even though they are stylistically very different. They're the same role, they're the same rough shape, and that's what we want to do with the Mark I Auroras and the Mark II. That you look at it and go, that's an Aurora. It does the same roles, but it's new RSI style.
So, why make an Aurora Mark II? That's from the chat.
Primarily, a big visual upgrade compared to the Mark Is, but there are so many Mark Is out in people's accounts. Like, it's one of the most iconic Star Citizen ships. We don't want to just suddenly one day, poof, they all disappear, and you've all got this new other ship that you perhaps didn't want 10 years ago. So it's the same with the Mark I Hornets. We didn't get rid of them and replace everybody's with Mark IIs. We
Made
want
them collector's
them
items.
both can coexist, and yeah, like I say, as collector's editions for. I was here back when the Mark I was a thing.
Yeah, and as one of our kind of like iconic starships, you kind of want, you know, it's getting its gold standard to make it, to bring it up to what we want that experience to be. And then the Mark II gives us an opportunity to update its visuals to a point that it, you know, like I say, it's kind of like the new generation of RSI. So it gives us the options to do kind of both the making the originals function and play how we want, and also doing a kind of a full visual overhaul as well. And there'll be people out there that will be like, don't like it, I want to keep Mark 1. And there'll be people out there that will be like, Mark 1's not for me, I love the Mark II. And that's you know, that's a good thing, more options.
So I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to react one way or the other.
Then just don't put the camera on us.
But the opportunity, there's been a fan idea out there for as long as I've been here, well over a decade, for what an update to the Aurora could do. And I just want to know, have you seen it, and are you considering it?
What, adding ramps instead of stairs?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
We're absolutely considering ramps instead of stairs, don't worry.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. And we'll go ahead and confirm that's coming in 2026, because why not? It's on the 2026 schedule.
Okay.
First half.
Enough.
There's nobody left to get angry at me. There have been a few cargo capacity changes recently. The raft, which was a big surprise. Like I didn't even know about that until it went live, and I'm like, what?
This guy just.
And then a few more coming up in the future with the whole series. The Raylan, which we managed to sneak in there with a little hologram thing, as well as an announcement that it's coming in 2026, which was nice. And I hear even cargo changes to the Ironclad are probably in order.
Yep.
What can you tell us about these?
Let's start with the whole series. They were concepted back
2015
15
by the great Jim Martin.
by the great Jim Martin.
10 years.
Back
Jesus.
then, they were everyone's favourite measurement of cargo freight units. They
How
had,
many FUs the ship
they had
had?
so many FUs, and they got converted to SEUs. And as we brought the whole series to the game, the whole C actually I think kept at its original
Pretty
SEU
close.
conversion rate. The hull A was 48 at concept, but we increased that to 64. Again, cargo metrics in our game solidified over the years. It didn't make sense to do this weird 48 because it didn't nicely fit in with the size cargo crates we have in the game. And as part of that, we decided that we want 32 SEU containers to be our largest container in the game. There's not going to be like a magical 64, 128, 256 one. And that sort of has knock-ons for the whole D&E. But I want to talk about the whole B first, in that we've been working on that. And that was 384 SEU at concept. It's now going to be 512. And it can still land with the cargo fully on, planet side, and you can get in and out of it is an important thing. There was a lot of finagling to get that to fit.
We don't have images, and I want to be clear, we don't have images because Ben gave them to me and I forgot to load them up. So you can blame me. But essentially, it went from this to like this in order to...
Yeah.
It should be a concept art, Jared.
We're that to that, and
I
then
paint pictures with words.
Yeah.
slightly longer, but still within the same hangar size.
It was a little bit of a headache, but we tried a lot of different things, but yeah, we got there at the end. So yeah.
Well, it'll be all right. It'll be a nice reveal when it comes, and you're working on it now. So that's all we'll say about that one.
26.
Did you just say it's coming in 2026?
Yeah, if we're doing this, let's go.
All right. Yeah, the whole B is coming in 2026 too. Let's,
Should we just list them all, John?
no.
No silhouettes this year. We're doing this instead.
Yeah, I got a question about the silhouettes. Talk to me about the railing.
Raylan, 320 to 640. People have seen the hologram in the halls and seen a lot of comments about the triangles missing.
Yeah. So
It's not. It's fake news.
yeah, it's not. So the hologram was based off of the game we have in the model we have in game at the moment. We are currently working out exactly what we're going to do with the cargo on it in terms of I want to keep the aesthetics there. I want to keep it as close as we can to the original concept, but I also want to make sure that it works and like I say, we don't want to end up with these weird shaped kind of cargo containers. So we're trying a few different things. Haven't nailed it down in concept yet. It's kind of in the next couple of weeks we'll start looking at it, but it will support kind of just standard cargo metrics. We will keep the kind of like the visuals of these triangles. They may be like a frame that kind of clasps around it and holds it and kind of moves out the way. There may be little end caps. Not sure exactly, but it was just a case of we haven't fully resolved that yet. So that's why it's not on there.
Okay.
But it is,
Yeah.
that is still the plan.
Won't go back to the D&E because I forgot to go back to them.
I was going to go back after
Okay.
we did the Iron 2, but you can do it now. We'll sandwich some bad news in with the
Yeah,
good news.
whole D&E owners sit down because this is going to sound like bad news, but it's
That's right.
it's the news.
You look right at your camera there.
Which
There you
one's
go.
this one?
Yep. Nope. Give him the John Crew camera.
Move out the way.
Give him the bad news camera.
Zoom in.
All the way. Your cargo capacity is going quite a long way down. So the D, and I've got my notes here, is going down to 6,912 SEU, which is a lot of SEU. And the E is going down to 12,288 SEU. So, gut reaction, that's a big drop from, I think, 98,000, and I can't remember what the D was.
Yeah.
But for years, people have quite rightly said, this is going to be so boring. I don't want to sit and load 3,000 plus 32 SEU containers by hand, or even in an org.
Yeah.
Economy-wise, huge concerns. And then performance-wise, also huge concerns. So whilst they have on paper gone down by a big percentage, they are still
The top of the
the
game.
absolute top, and we have no plans currently to have any ships that get anywhere near those. Like, I can't think of one that actually beats the whole C at this point in terms of cargo capacity. So the D&E is still the cream of the crop. Their role remains unchanged as
I mean, yeah,
the
that's
bulk of
still a
super
lot of
carriers. They're
SEU,
just
so.
their SEU comes down to more reasonable levels.
Yeah.
I'd genuinely be curious to see how long it would take to load a hull E with the original numbers. Like, hand on heart, genuinely curious how long it would take to put that many 32 SUs on it.
Yeah, and we looked at the concept meshes of it, and there's some quirks.
Always work.
They basically add extra spindle for the D and then for the E, but the scaling's all like off, and there was just no way we could even get to those numbers with the current actual cargo metrics. Like, the spindles would have had to have like quadrupled in size.
Yeah.
As it was
I think proportionally
becoming,
would look
proportionally.
interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously, we will revisit the concepts when we
Yeah.
kind of get to that point as well, because they're going to need a
Yeah.
full pass.
It's one of those things. I'm looking at chat here live. I think a lot of people suspected the same thing. It's like the numbers never quite made made sense. They were a mistake back
I mean,
then. Whenever
if it was still
these are
auto-loading,
ships that
yeah,
are not
but-
coming in 2026, but we know the answer now. We know what the correction is. And John came to me, gosh, it was like last week, I think, and said, hey, I'd really like to get this information out there now. There's no reason to sit on it. So I really appreciate you doing that. Back to some better news then. Ironclad. We're talking about cars.
Yes, so that's obviously in production. Again, monthly reports, backlog ships are always mentioned in there. We don't keep them a secret. Ironclad cargo capacity, both of them, going up. So
Excuse me.
the base
Really
Ironclad
habit of
was
biting my
1,536.
1536.
1536. That's going up to 2,204, and the
Which I know my
assault's going
brother will
from
be happy about.
1,152 to 1440.
I see why you got notes now.
Yeah, this is why I have it written down. Again, they may change slightly as we get close to release, but it's that proportional change. Why did that happen?
We reshuffled the inside of it. It's as it went. It was the bulkhead move, and it was changing where the ladders were. So there was, as we went into when we went through White Box with the actual layout, we then get a good chance to walk around and play and feel what the ship would be like. There were a few changes that happened to the layout and how we were orientating everything. And as things push and pull around a little bit, there's a little bit more space. It made sense to fill it, so we ended up putting a little bit more cargo in there. It's one of those things where there might be a little bit of change. We'll never go down, but we'll sometimes take it up a little. Well, we sometimes might go down. We talk about the whole day and the whole day. But it made sense for the layout and everything, so just got a little bit more cargo because it made sense to add it, and it looked dumb not being there. Because it looked just like a gap, so...
I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, when we were looking at it, there was some gaps in the cargo grid, and it's kind of like, if they're justifiable, it's fine, but when there's just a gap, it's just people are just going to shove more cargo in it anyway.
Yeah,
so.
right. Well, it was just because the ladders moved.
Yeah.
Originally, there was paths so you could get to the ladders, to the catwalks, but because we moved them out to the side, it just didn't make sense for it anymore.
The Aurora Mark 1 sneak peek image that went out a few weeks ago was sat in the Ironclad's cargo hold as a background, just for a little bit of a...
Oh, we didn't mention
figure that out.
when the Aurora Gold Standard arrives.
2026.
It's also coming with all those damn
all those
Kickstarter
paints.
campaign
I've gone
paints.
Yeah.
pretty Sherlock Holmes on some of the old paints and trawling our archives and the internet trying to find all the details of the paints that
Going back to the original Kickstarter
were
page.
once promised before my time. And
Wow.
Literally some of the oldest outstanding things. One of the reasons I really respect and enjoy working with John and Ben and sometimes Mark. Is that we can have a conversation at like 11 o'clock at night about how, guys, if we're going to do this gold standard, we really should dig out these paints. We really should dig out, these things that existed before I was here, before you were here, before you were here. Figure out what they are, figure out what's going to take to get them, and do them. And you guys are always down for stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. If that's something we're on the hook for and deliver, let's just get it out of the way and stuff like this. It's
because I think
it's just nice.
There's 4 that we know what they look like, and there's still 2 or 3 that I can't find any visuals for at all.
No, they never had anybody.
So we'll just we'll make something cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. And finally, before we get to the player questions portion of this show, this is the last question that's from me. Every other question for the rest of the show is from you folks. What was my question? We didn't do a silhouette thing for CitizenCon Direct this year. Mostly because the 2 of you are lazy, I suspect.
Last one.
So we didn't do a silhouette. We're not going to do one here today.
Do it live.
Don't get that hand shapes.
There's a whiteboard. I'll just drag it over. We'll start doing silhouettes
Shadow
of
puppets.
everything for 2026.
There are still 2 outstanding ships from that silhouette of things that were supposed to come in the next year. Go ahead. We've already revealed. We've already said the Aurora Gold Standard is coming next year. We've already said the Aurora Mark II is coming next year. We've already said the. I almost revealed.
Not that easy, is it, Jared, when there's so many of them?
Tell me what those 2 ships are.
There's actually 3.
It's actually 3.
There's actually 3. So everyone thinks it was the MTC silhouette, but it was actually the MFC, which Ben announced in the MDC video yesterday. So that's the crafting version.
That's the fabricating version of the.
Yeah, so basically it's got it swaps out the rear section for a crafting section, opens up.
With some
make
lovely
all your-
images again.
Yeah, does this.
Interesting. Like,
Just imagine
And
the
it
back.
goes up like that.
It kind of adds a little
Pops
bit of
around.
like shielding, so you can get to your crafter if you're under attack and reload,
Chris would be
rearm.
so proud of us, right?
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. It's basically how I deal with my team. It's just this.
It's the classic art director
Yeah.
gif. Of just
So yeah, we've got that.
the big Anvil Atlas chassis one is the Auxilia,
Yep.
which is, if you like the Clipper, it's basically that in an Atlas ground vehicle chassis. So it has a crafting machine, same dimensions as the one in the Clipper, and a tier 2 med bed in it, in a big hulking great.
It looks really cool as
It
well.
looks really cool.
Yeah.
Nice little kind of forward operating base.
Yeah.
kinda.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
one person,
Atlas?
drive it in, and you've got your little respawn and crafting and everything.
Keep trying that bunker mission.
Yeah. And then the last one, a lot of people correctly guessed, was a Glest. Guest was a Consolidated Outlands ship, and that is, I think, currently called the Forge. I don't know whether we're going to keep that name or not. And you can guess from the name what it does. It's another crafting ship. It's basically a small to medium-sized solo ship with a whacking great crafting machine bigger than the ones people have seen in the Clipper and other ships. And it also has a onboard refinery, so you can refine goods to make your things you are crafting or fabricating.
Okay.
And then 11th hour request for it as well was, much like the Pioneer, it's super big brother. It also has ground extractors in it, so you can land on a planet and extract the resources to refine, to use for your crafting.
And I mean, with that one, we were fairly early with the concept when we kind of paused it. The concept's super cool. It's got this amazing kind of like slab front kind of glass canopy to it.
Full width, flat glass.
Yeah, full width, flat glass. So it was a really cool looking ship. Can't wait to pick it back up. But I don't know if we'll end up doing.
We'll end up tweaking it.
Yeah. So
Again, it's got a, like we talked about earlier, we don't want to do things that we're not confident that the gameplay is going to be there in time for its release. And it got a few extra things added to it than when we started the concept for it. So then that's obviously pause it.
And obviously, if it hasn't been apparent now, the reason those didn't come out last year is because crafting didn't come out last year.
Yeah, and you know, it was on the production schedule, but we knew ahead of time enough that we were going to end up with a ship that didn't have the gameplay, so we pulled that out. I can't remember what we put in its place, but we released something else in its place.
So is crafting coming in 2026?
It's above my pay grade, so you need to.
Ask that team.
We're going to try. All right. Oh, there was a good question in the chat. I lost it. Oh well. You know who you were. So let's jump into the questions from the community.
Okay.
So the next.
So, I think I'm going to stop it there, and then the next video we'll go into the community questions. But I want to go back here for just a second. So probably around, let's see where are we at now? 42, so maybe 40.
From that silhouette of things that were supposed to come in the next year. Go ahead. We've already.
Is the Auxilia,
Yep.
which is, if you like the Clipper,
The shows from you folks.
Let's watch this again.
What was my question? We didn't do a silhouette
No.
thing for CitizenCon Direct this year, mostly because
Grab. Sorry, gotta go back.
Almost something cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. And finally, before we get to the play,
It kind of adds a little bit of like shielding, so you can get to know what they look like. And there's still 2 or 3 that I can't find any visuals for at all.
no, they never had any.
So we'll just almost something cool.
So, all right. And finally, before we get to the
one thinks it was the MTC silhouette, but it was actually the MFC, which Ben announced in the MDC video yesterday. So that's the crafting version.
that's the fabricating version of the.
Yeah, so basically it's got it swaps out the rear section for a crafting section, opens up.
With some
make
lovely
all your-
images again.
Okay.
Yeah, does this. Just imagine the back.
Rolls up like that.
It kind of adds a
Yeah,
little bit of like shielding, so you can get to your crafter if you're under attack and reload,
Chris would
rearm.
be so proud of us, right?
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. It's basically how I deal with my team. It's just this.
It's the classic art director
Yeah.
meme gif. Of just move it.
So yeah, we've got that.
The big Anvil Atlas chassis one is the Auxilia,
Yep.
which is, if you
Now, are they speaking? Anvil, the app? Well, again, because the Atlas is Argo, so maybe they misspoke. So let's go back just a few seconds.
It's basically how I deal with my team. It's just this.
it's the classic art director meme
Yeah.
gif. Of just move it.
So yeah, we've got that.
The big Anvil Atlas chassis one is the Auxilia,
Yep.
which is, if you like the Clipper, it's basically that in an Atlas ground vehicle chassis. So it has a crafting machine, same dimensions as the one in the Clipper, and a tier 2 med bed in it, in a
Huh.
big hulking great.
It looks really cool as
It
well.
looks really cool.
Yeah.
Nice little kind of forward operating base.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
One
Okay.
person, drive it in, and you've got your little respawn and crafting and everything.
Keep trying that bunker mission.
Yeah. And then the last one, a lot of people correctly guessed was Guest was a consolidated Outlands ship, and that is, I think, currently called the Forge. I don't know whether we're going to keep that name or not. And you can guess from the name what it does. It's another crafting.
Okay, so yeah, interesting. So that being said, like I said, since they did release the Clipper, even with Jared's, we'll try, and again, I mean, I understand when you're doing things on the scale of Star Citizen, it is a matter of we'll try to get it out or whatever. I would guess with these two ships being announced that they have to be fairly far along with crafting and I guess trying to get it out like soon. I know they said, of course, they're trying to get engineering out by the end of the year, but maybe along with that crafting it is with it. So, that's very interesting. So, well, that is my reaction to the first 40 some odd minutes of the Star Citizen Live from the other day. I do like that, obviously part of my rant was answered right after my rant, so that was good. And I'm sure some other questions coming forward they might ask more. So, I'll get into the rest of the video later on. Like I said, I don't know whether I'll just make it one part or two parts, but we shall see. But as always, feel free to share, subscribe, hope you give me a like if you like my content. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hit that notification button below so you know when I drop something new. If you feel so inclined, leave a question, comment, or whatever. And as always, thanks for watching.